Let's get started. Hey everybody, I'm Chris Beytes, editor of GrowerTalks magazine, and I'm here at Ball Horticultural Company in West Chicago, Illinois for Darwin Day 2019. This is the 9th annual Darwin Day, the showcase of Darwin's vegetative perennials out here in the gardens. It's actually Darwin's 10th anniversary, and to help celebrate, we're going to check out with this guy right here in the gray, Leland Toering. In fact, we're going to go.
Guys.
We're going to go touring with Toering.
All right, sounds good.
To look at new varieties in a sec. I've been wanting to say that all day. But this is your 10th anniversary out here, and you were telling me that the gardens, the perennial displays here, kind of evolved.
You bet.
In those,
you bet.
In those 9 years you've been trialing.
Really, the gardens here serve two purposes, and number one is an opportunity for us to be able to showcase our new varieties for the upcoming season, but also to see the overwintering progress of some of the existing varieties that we have on the market. But over the years, we've gotten a lot of requests from customers that they want to see a few more comparison trials. So over the last 3 years, we've added quite a few different comparisons on the kind of the top-selling perennial genus in the market. So like behind me here, this is a comparison trial of Salvia nemorosa, and we put our varieties right up against all of the leading Salvia nemorosa in the market, because we want to be able to see just how well our varieties perform in comparison to everyone else's on the market.
The bees are certainly digging them. We should ask them, which
Yes.
do you prefer, right?
the bees really love them. And I think one standout out of this comparison garden, certainly it continues.
Let's take a look at some of the new varieties. You're going to show us some highlights. So tell us about what we're seeing here.
All right, so this is Salvia Rose Marvel, and Salvia Rose Marvel was actually introduced last year, but it continues to be a standout. So it's one thing I really want to point out and have been showing customers is that for a Salvia nemorosa, it has the largest blooms out of any Salvia nemorosa in our trial. And you can pan over and see all the different salvias that we have here in the beds. But the other reason why I really like Salvia Rose Marvel is because what does it look like when it's done flowering? And when it's done flowering, as you can see, you still have some interest, right? Because the average homeowner may or may not actually end up cutting back their Salvia nemorosa to get them to rebloom. So what does it still look like in the landscape after it's completely done blooming? You still at least have some color interest.
Interesting way to read the trial. You never think about reading perennial trials, so we're learning a little something.
Yeah, correct.
Show us something else that's new and exciting for Darwin.
You betcha. Let's walk over to bed number 1 if we could.
All right.
A new series of achillea for 2020 is the Millie Rock series.
Right down here.
And the Millie Rock series is actually breeding from one of our partners in Europe, Florensis. And we represent a lot of Florensis products in the North American market. And this is a really exciting addition. And what's really unique about it is just how compact it is. So even in the garden, after a year of overwintering, I mean, max height is only going to be 12 to 15 inches. And that's really...
compared to what for standard one?
Compared for standard achilleas, which certainly can get up as high as 2 to 3 feet.
So you'd be talking up here. We're going to wind up down here.
Absolutely.
With these guys, and these were just planted this year, it says too. So.
And just planted this year. These are Zone 5, so they'll overwinter certainly in our Chicago area here. We're really excited about this red. There's also a rose that's going to be added for 2020 as well in the Millie Rock collection.
All right, and I've been hearing that succulents, perennial succulents, are hot.
Perennial succulents are hot. A lot of folks know a very popular sedum called Angelina. It's very typical to find in almost every garden center across North America. And what we've found is a sport of Angelina that we're calling Prima Angelina. And what's so prima about it is it has a much more golden chartreuse color than the traditional Angelina, but it also keeps its habit a little bit more nice and tidy. Sometimes Angelina certainly tends to run over the pot.
Is this the first succulent for Darwin?
This would be one of the very first succulents of Darwin. Sure, absolutely. The other thing that's really interesting about this Prima Angelina, which sometimes people don't always think about it, is its winter color. So Angelina, traditional Angelina, is a kind of a crimson red color in the winter, but Prima Angelina actually stays a nice golden color all throughout the winter. And I don't know about you, but I know in the winter at my house, I'll take any bit of color I can get, red or gold.
We would just have to shovel a few feet of snow off of it to see it, but it's under there.
That's right. So we're really excited about Prima Angelina.
For summer color, though, nothing can beat all the Echinaceas that Ball has been doing. Yes. Darwin, excuse me. And
all right,
that's Sombrero Tango Tangerine.
Yes, so we've got two new additions to the Sombrero series, and this one is called Tango Tangerine. And as you can see, it's got a nice rosy red flower to it. It's very floriferous. And a lot of people ask, wait a minute, doesn't this kind of look like the hot coral sombrero that you already have? The answer, yes. But the difference between the hot coral and the Tango Tangerine is the height. So hot coral is a great, outstanding plant, but it's about 2/3 the size of the rest of the series. So we've had growers who've asked us to say, you know what? We love the sombreros, we love hot coral, but can we get it a little bit taller to match the rest of the series?
So and it's always interesting to talk about series for perennials, because that's still a new concept.
Very new concept.
This is not really a collection. This is really more of an actual series then.
This is a definite series. They all share some of the exact same attributes. High flower count, excellent overwintering, lots of additional branching. Second year, third year, we've been showcasing sombreros now. I think we're on about year 8 of sombreros.
A quiz question: do you know how many colors, varieties there are now in the series?
I would believe that there are approximately 9, but please don't quote me on that.
Well, maybe one for each year. We've been doing trials out here. All right. How about one more or two more prime varieties here?
All right, another really interesting thing that we found in our trials this year is that our series Armeria Dreameria actually overwintered. And this is a big deal because we originally thought it was zone 6 hardy, but we actually planted these last year. There's 4 different colors in the Armeria Dreameria series. And here in the gardens, all 4 of them overwintered.
And when you say overwintered, the perennials are supposed to overwinter, but we're in zone 5 here in Chicago, and this is... You thought a zone 6? We
originally thought it was only a zone 6 perennial, but certainly after surviving the polar vortex that we had here in Chicago last year, and especially even being in all these plants being in raised beds, actually the temperature's actually even a little bit lower.
That's
because
right.
they're in
the
raised
ground doesn't
beds
stay
as well.
warm.
And so we were confident enough that we're actually going to put a zone 5 tag on all of the Armeria Dreameria series.
We spent a day or two at zone 4. Here this winter. It's 127 below zero, not 127 below, 27 below zero. And then you had one more up here, Leland.
Yes.
To show us.
Speaking of overwintering in a very harsh conditions, many of the hybrid digitalis that are on the market right now are maybe zone 7 at best. And they're wonderful, beautiful plants, but for us up here in the north, they just don't always overwinter. So what we found is this digitalis, which is called Arctic Fox Rose, and you can see just the body on this particular plant.
Right there,
you get a nice initial top flower spike, but then you start getting all these side shoots as well. And as the summer progresses, this is going to make just an outstanding show with these blooms coming up and meeting with this top main stem here. And again, this really is kind of a game changer in digitalis and getting this type of hardiness in, and this would be a fantastic addition to any northern growers perennial program.
So that's Arctic Fox Rose, Zone 5. More colors coming?
We are working on additional colors. This is the only one for 2020. And somebody asked us, said, well, why just launch one color? But it was so outstanding in our trials, we just couldn't help ourselves. So certainly look for more additional colors to come in the future.
Hey, that's an end cap item. Now the last thing I wanted to leave you with, we were talking about this earlier. You said that really there's sort of a sea change in perennials as more and more annual growers get into it, as more technology comes in, as more breeding. Talk about that real briefly.
Yes. So in the last 10 years, there has been a lot of breeding done in perennials. And by breeding, I mean a lot of breeding done by professional breeders. And you know, with new perennial genetics, we found that we can actually do new things, and we found that we can actually schedule perennials kind of like we've been doing annuals for years. So that way, if you have a specific ship date that you're trying to hit, whether that's spring through fall with perennials, you can actually schedule your inputs to come in to be able to hit a specific ship window.
And this is not just through greenhouse manipulation of lighting and temperature like the MSU research of a long time ago.
No,
this is through breeding.
This is definitely through the work we've done in breeding, and we have a lot of scheduling tools available for growers, and those scheduling tools were created based on us doing our own trials. And the way that we do our trials is we actually don't grow anything in a greenhouse. We grow it outside. We let Mother Nature kind of do its thing. We don't put any growth regulators on any of the plants, and we do several different iterations of specific ship window trials, and it's really amazing being able to see what we can do with new perennial genetics now. And you know, the days of having the average perennial grower bring in all of their inputs in the summer, overwintering, and then selling throughout the year, I think those days are certainly numbered, because there's a lot more options for growers in these newer genetics.
Well, if you want to see the newer genetics and some of the older ones and side-by-side trials, there's really no better place, at least the third Wednesday in June, than Darwin Perennial Day. Plan to come out to the 10th Darwin Day, when it'll be Darwin's 11th anniversary. Did I get that right?
Absolutely.
Leland, thank you very much. Thank you for touring with Toering. We appreciate it. We enjoy
You
that.
betcha. Thank you.